Beware thy hunger.
You can't do that. Because that's... And we're back. We are back. It's been so long since we've done anything. A lot of things have happened IRL, as they say. I've got this new house. I think the last time we filmed, I don't know if I had this house.
I don't think it's been that long. I mean, it's been a while.
I'm saying, like, since we filmed a sit down, yeah. You've got a kid that's grown from a baby to, like, a small child now.
Soon to be 2-year-old.
Yeah, that's insane. Insane how quickly the time has gone. And our missing cohort also just had a kid, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Life.
Tom. Yep, Tom is not fired. He's just going to be on a vacation. On
temporary
leave.
hiatus.
Yes, for however long.
Yes.
But we're wanting to get this thing rolling again and maybe have a slightly new format?
Question mark?
All the while honoring the old format. All the while just doing whatever we want to do, I guess, is the point here. So what do we got for us today, Jake? What are we starting with?
So what I really wanted to talk about first is, well, what's the thing that I'm the most passionate about anymore is just movies. Plain old movies, is going to the movies. With us getting Movie Pass, and Savannah's like pushing me really hard to do a video with her as to review just Movie Pass altogether and everything that we've seen with Movie Pass. So that's going to be coming. But I want to just talk about the top 5 things. They don't have to be...
Movie Pass going to give you guys some royalties for that? Or
no, they're not.
No.
At this point, they've paid me, I think, over $400 or $500 worth of movies.
Like, I see.
So,
okay. So
we're fine.
It's all even. Okay.
It's fine.
Good.
These don't have to be the best movies that have come, like, that the Oscars might, or not Oscars, but, you know, the awards and the
No one cares about the Oscars.
Whatever. These are the movies that I enjoyed the most and that I've talked about the most with people. So I don't know. I feel like I should ask you. What's a couple of the movies or 5 movies that you could say are on your top 5 of 2018?
Top 5 of 2018. Okay, so this is my top 5 of 2018. My number 5 is going to be Black Panther. That's kind of what kicked off the movie season for me. I really enjoyed Black Panther. For a Marvel movie, it was different. I feel like yes, they're all different, but I felt like it was filmed like there's moments where it felt like a James Bond movie to me. There's moments where it was the action thriller that a superhero movie should be. It was just not the typical superhero movie to me. And in the same vein as not typical of its genre, that brings us to yours.
A Quiet Place was mine. And I did want to talk about, you brought that up, of it feeling like a James Bond movie. The first third of the movie really feels like a James Bond movie with, like, especially showing the way the character or the bad guy eventually would kind of come to be, and why he had a legit gripe. Some of the best James Bond bad guys, and Marvel's been really bad about it and kind of missed the mark with not giving the bad guy credibility to where it's like, okay, I see why they did that. Yeah. It's usually they're, I want to take over the world. Right. Yeah. Like, and in this case, it was like, okay.
You almost could root for him.
Although in real life, I wouldn't agree with kind of what he stands for.
Right.
There are certainly the country that we live in right now is divided, and it seems like one side of the country would agree with kind of his premise in a way. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah, you couldn't completely just root against the guy. It was sympathetic.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be, and it was good. It was a good movie, especially that casino scene really felt like, I was like, this is a James Bond movie.
Yeah. Him getting all the gadgets at the beginning is kind of that whole scene. The Q branch scene.
Very good movie.
And then my movie, like I said, was A Quiet Place. That was John Krasinski, the guy who plays Jim Hopper from The Office. His first movie that he wrote, directed, and starred in. If you haven't checked it out, I guess it'd be a horror movie.
Kind of a sleeper hit.
But it's fantastic.
Very good movie.
Check that one out.
Deadpool I thought was great. It was everything you would have liked about the first one and then some, which to me, it's probably why it's not my any higher on my list since I'm going in order like that. But with the added addition of Cable and kind of teasing the X-Force and the hilarious way that they went about that, it was a lot of fun. I remember you making the point that after another movie that I'm sure will come up later on probably both our lists, after Infinity War, which ended so almost bleakly, you said that this was like the perfect movie to follow up because it was so much fun.
Oh yeah.
And that's like perfect. When I saw it after you had said that, I was like, that totally nailed it on the head. So my number 4, Deadpool for sure.
And I don't know, from your explanation, it sounds like you were in the same boat as me and you actually liked Deadpool 2 more than Deadpool 1, which is kind of hit and miss with people I've asked. I like Deadpool 2 better than and I love Deadpool 1. Mm-hmm. But again, this didn't hit my top 5, but it's close. Something I really considered.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible Fallout was on my top 5 though.
Nice.
I saw Fallout twice in the theater and I meant to go see it a third time.
Fallout,
it's over 2.5 hours long.
Wow.
If that tells you, I've given 5 hours or more of my life to see it and I still want to go see it again in the theater. It's have you seen it yet?
No, that's the one big movie I've missed. I always have at least one I miss, and now that you've said that, I don't know if I can do 2.5 hours of Tom Cruise. That's my only problem.
The thing is, and I completely agree, I do not like Tom Cruise, but the movie is, if you like action movies, have you seen all the other Mission Impossibles?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's the best Mission Impossible movie, and it took a while for me to say, because the first one, for me, was the best movie of all.
Right.
But now this is, without a doubt, the best Mission Impossible movie. I can't think of the actor's name, but the guy who plays Superman now.
Oh, Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill, whatever.
I'm not really sure.
He plays kind of the other guy. You don't know whether he's good or bad through the entire movie.
Cool.
He does a really good job in playing his role, because you don't know what his intentions are the entire movie, and he feels good at being that guy.
Do you think if they do more, he'll stay as a character?
Well,
I guess I didn't see the ending.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, spoilers.
Fair enough.
Number 3 for both of us is Venom.
We just saw that the other night, and I think, I'm just going to throw it out there, I think that all the criticism that came before the movie even hit theaters is complete crap.
Fake news. You are fake news.
Crap. I get it. I usually am the type of person that when I see a movie that's heavily drowned in criticism, for a great example would be 2017 Justice League. Mm-hmm. I get it. The Henry Cavill, whatever the heck, we need to research.
Mustache was terrible.
That was bad. I get it, but the criticism is just, it's ridiculous. I mean, what kind of... I could get really political, but we better save that for another time.
There's a big controversy. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's fun. You can't go into it... A lot of people went into it thinking, oh, it's a horror movie that's going to be Marvel, or it's going to be a standard...
Food!
standard action Marvel.
Hungry!
Even though Sony did it, Marvel's part of it. It's just a really fun ride. If I have any criticism at all, and this is like being way too picky, even though I was just complaining about that type of attitude, it's the first 20 minutes, it does feel like the build of a horror movie, where it's just kind of like,
what's going to happen?
Let's cram all this stuff out there. We probably should build characters better, but you don't need to, because Venom's the only character that really needs build.
They could have said in the first 20 to 30 minutes of the movie, they could have just said, boy, Eddie Brock has a lot of ambition. If only he would do something about all these things. Right. Or if maybe something could happen to him that could make him be able to do something about all these things.
Tom Hardy, who's one of my favorite actors of all time, he took a slightly obscure character, not in Venom, in Eddie Brock.
Yes.
Which I know we're separating here.
Mm-hmm. As it should be.
Not only played that character perfectly, because Eddie's kind of a loser. He's kind of a jerk. And has good intentions, but his execution is crap. But he took this character and made it as likable as, I dare say, a Peter Parker or any other
that was
character.
If somebody's going to gripe, the only gripe for true nerds on this is going to be that Eddie Brock's not that likable. Like,
Right.
and
Right.
which is fine. How else are you going to make a franchise? I want to go see a movie with somebody I don't like. Good luck, Superman 2, Man of Steel 2. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
he's a good actor, but like, and
But
I don't know.
he pulled off this is not a person that should be likable, but he made it likable.
Yeah.
Regardless,
Which is the opposite, I guess, of my example, but
it's the same point. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Do not go into this, for anyone, do not go into this movie thinking it's going to be horror movie. Do not have like overly high expectations.
PG-13 rating.
It's just sit back and enjoy. It's so fun. It's just a ride. Like, it's a fun movie.
Also, I don't remember what I was going to say about it.
Poop.
Poop. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, now I do. Rotten Tomatoes score.
30%.
30% for critics, 89% audience score.
If that doesn't tell you something.
Isn't that's insane? And we could get into the whole thing. There is a big conspiracy right now that a lot of people were pushed to give it bad reviews because A Star Is Born dropped the same day.
Yes, I heard about this.
And
This is so stupid.
Right now, like, it's the more evidence that comes out about this, the more it looks like this might be legit. The rules are that Star Wars is always above everything else.
The rules have always been that Star Wars is the be-all, end-all. But,
So
I guess
spoilers for my number one.
I guess I've contradicted myself in this case because I was kind of the one who was like, yeah, this is totally the thing. Well, of course it is, Jake says. And Tommy says, yes, that goes without saying. It's the be-all, end-all.
Except we've talked about this probably 5 years ago before.
Way too much.
Right.
Cheers. 5 years ago. More like 10.
50 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. I put Solo as my number 2. If we're scratching that, I don't have a good justification. Anyway, it's my number 2. It's a very, very, very close number 2 to the number 1. I'm just trying to be fair to the number 1, I suppose. Bottom line, Solo was another movie that was seemingly panned by complainers. Maybe not even as bad with critics. It was complainers, online complainers, which is a same but totally separate issue than movie critics. But anyway,
it's just people don't like.
it's ridiculous.
And my voice is audibly cracking because just the anger is rising and building in me.
Star Wars fatigue.
People don't like that their story and their plan and what they thought of here's my fan fiction. It's not been completed exactly as I wrote it, so therefore this movie is bad. That's really what people think. And that's why The Last Jedi is just, for some reason, if you look online, people seem to, like, the vocal, I guess, people online hate the movie.
The loud minority?
Yeah, vocal minority, I guess. And then some people hate this movie too. I thought it was great.
See, people didn't hate this movie. The thing was, no one wanted to go see it because of the Last Jedi complaints. And it was like, nope, we don't want a Star Wars movie 4 or 5 months after, 6 months, whatever. Like, it's too soon, and then it's like, that was so bad, this is going to be... No one gave this movie a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Similar stuff to Venom. And then when people have that attitude, critics come in panning it too. This, again, was a very fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
Huge shoes for that actor to step into. Massive shoes. You can't think that this guy's going to be Harrison Ford. You just can't go into it like that. That's not rational. Even still, he did awesome.
He did a great job. I dare say
awesome.
he did live up above expectations for me.
I agree.
But
we're reasonable, rational people.
I would say, and this, again, people seem to just love the last Star Wars story movie, Rogue One. I was not a big fan of it. I thought this was better. You know why I thought it was better? But the big thing for me is Rogue One didn't add anything to the mythology. Anything that's added in, everyone's dead. Like, by the end of that, there's nothing. It just explains.
It fixed the plot hole. It fixed the plot hole. That's pretty much all it did.
But this movie, this really opened up to the universe to say, okay, the stuff that's not really in the movies, that's like the extended universe, that's canon now. That's part of the movies. Yeah. And the last 20 minutes, especially of the movie, does a big thing where it opens some stuff up, and I really love that. And a lot of people hate that.
A lot of people misunderstood that. There's so many people who are like, wait, Han Solo's spoiler, Han Solo's older than everybody that was alive around the Darth Maul thing. No, Darth Maul lived.
Yeah.
Fake legs, people. If you can have a fake hand, you can have fake legs from the waist down. But
Number one.
Infinity War. What else would it be?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people love this one. Most people love this one. I think a couple people were a little critical here and there because it ended the way it ended. But it's like, I think we all should have expected that.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, even those of us not major comic book nerds, I think should have known enough at this point to kind of know where that was going.
I knew it hit so hard. I knew how that it was going to end that way.
Still impactful.
But even the way, like, I thought the movie was going to end with, like, okay, there's some hope. Like,
True.
you know what I mean?
True.
But the way it ends, you
Just like, nope.
you see, like, the content look on his face. And I remember, I audibly said, Jesus Christ, like, in the theater when it happened. Like, it went black, and I was like,
Yeah.
you just hear me, if you're somebody else, you heard me say, Jesus Christ, because it just...
But everybody's thinking that.
Are you
basically.
kidding me? Like, that's the way they, like, that's hard. They, like, double down on just, like, that hard, like, sad ending. And
Yeah, to be super analytical, I just loved how it was a Thanos story.
yeah,
You
it was
know?
a Thanos movie.
And I can't think of a movie that had so many characters featured so well, and yet it was still like the villain was the main character in so many ways. Like, just very
Empire Strikes Back,
true.
maybe.
Good point. But still, this was a little different. But it just great movie overall. Like, yeah, it ended a little bleak, but of course there's a sequel, and that's kind of the point. Like, it is. I would say it is the Empire Strikes Back of the
Yeah,
MCU.
That's-
would say.
because I wasn't around when Empire came out in the theater, so I never had that
Yeah.
feeling. That's
Now we know how that feels, kind of.
yeah.
That's cool. That's a cool perspective.
I think, and a lot of people, spoilers, obviously, we're talking about how it's like half of the MCU dies.
At this point,
the
I
end.
only know one person who hasn't
Who
seen
hasn't
the
seen-
movie, but
They
he's-
wouldn't care. They-
No, he very much cares. It's actually a really funny story, but I'm not gonna get into it. He's had notoriously insane bad luck, like not able to go see it in the theaters because like health problems and kids stuff, and then not able to do. I have to wait till it comes on video, and then not able to see it because my DVD, my Blu-ray, and my Xbox all
Yeah.
But anyway, like it just
So, a lot of people talk about how the Spider-Man scene is like where their
Yeah.
heart, where
Yeah.
their heart was ripped out of their chest.
yeah.
For me, dude,
There's a lot
as
of
somebody who like left the second Guardians movie with a tear in my eye when it ends, the movie ends with a tear in Rocket's eye. That's my favorite MCU
Mhm.
character right now is Rocket Raccoon. But for him to see his buddy, who he had to see die in the
Yeah.
first movie, die again in front of him, and he says, I guess, supposedly it came out a few weeks after the movie came out, but when he says, I am Groot, when he's
Mhm.
just disappearing, he says, Daddy,
Yeah.
to Rocket.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Well, what I love about that scene that I think was easily missed because there was just so much going on in that movie, and that's not necessarily a negative thing, was the scene back with Thor where Thor's just, I can't remember exactly what he says, but he's being Thor, he's being brave and just doesn't have any care for what's going to happen other than he's just determined he's going to take Thanos out.
Yeah.
And Rocket's like, well, actually, I have a lot to lose. And it's like a joke. And he's
Yeah.
the only Guardian that lives.
yeah,
Like, and that's just...
he loses everybody.
And there's a lot of heavy moments. There's, it kicks off with a heavy moment with Loki, and then there's the Gamora thing, and there's just so on and so on. And then, like, majority of everybody's gone. And why this movie, for me, to kind of segue a little bit, is number one. And I'm actually, for the first time ever, kind of picking something over a Star Wars thing, like we said before.
Sure.
It had such a heavy, massive cultural impact in pop culture, I mean, people are still talking about it. It's in music, it's in, Eminem's, his big rap album that came out. It's a lot of talk there. The term snapped is a thing now.
The snapping and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a massive, no other movie this year has impacted culture in this way. And it actually impacted culture in a very positive, fun way as well. It's not like trashing things like with Venom and Solo. It's fun.
Yeah. We're on our own expedition to
That's
find all the
nice.
Infinity Stones. We only seem to have the time